The Kane estate dominated the skyline like a fortress of glass and steel, the setting sun glinting off its towering facade. Inside the top-floor office, the city stretched beneath them, a network of lights, cars, and endless opportunity. Jonathan Kane stood at the center of the room, crisp in a tailored navy suit, eyes fixed on the long table covered with reports, projections, and architectural plans. Alexander Kane moved beside him, sharp in black, sleeves neatly cuffed, his posture radiating focus and confidence. "This shipment from Singapore," Jonathan said, tapping a page with a silver pen, "is behind schedule. Nothing disastrous yet, but delays like this cannot be repeated. Notify logistics and prepare an alternative routing plan. I want results by morning." Alexander's fingers moved deftly across the documents. "I've already contacted the regional director. Contingency plans are in place. If needed, we can reroute the priority cargo via Rotterdam. It'll arrive on schedule." Jonathan's eyes softened for a fraction of a second as he regarded his son. "Good. That's why I involve you in every decision. It's not enough to inherit power, you have to understand it, anticipate it. Every number, every transaction, every move we make has consequences. Never forget that." They moved together through the room, shifting from shipping logistics to the new Kane Tower expansion. Every discussion was measured, calculated, every comment a step in a dance of strategy. Alexander reviewed architectural schematics, pointing out potential bottlenecks in construction timelines. Jonathan acknowledged each point with a nod, adding insights from decades of experience. There was a rhythm to their work, silent yet profound, born of years of mentorship and shared vision. Alexander opened a folder marked Global Investments. "The merger in Geneva," he said, eyes scanning the documents. "Is it primarily to consolidate our influence, or are we positioning for the European market?" Jonathan's gaze hardened slightly, sharp and deliberate. "Both. Consolidation secures what we already control, but expansion is inevitable. You must understand this. Timing and perception are everything. One misstep, and the world sees weakness, and weakness has no place in the Kane legacy." As they worked, the office seemed to shrink around them, filled only with the weight of their ambition. Outside, the city lights began to glitter like stars, reflecting off the polished surfaces of desks and glass walls. Alexander flipped through a series of documents detailing upcoming acquisitions, board decisions, and potential political partnerships. Each sheet told a story of influence, power, and strategy, the tools of the Kane Empire. Jonathan paused, leaning against the edge of the table, and spoke with calm authority. "You see, Alex, every decision we make here reverberates across continents. The Kane legacy is more than wealth, it's power, perception, and control. You must learn to navigate all three simultaneously. And tonight, you're beginning that education firsthand." Alexander nodded, absorbing the lesson. "I understand, Father. I'll follow your guidance and make sure every move reinforces the legacy, not jeopardizes it." Jonathan glanced toward the city's skyline, eyes narrowed slightly. "Remember, the world does not wait, and neither do our rivals. Every empire has its challenges. Some are obvious, some hide in plain sight. You must always be prepared, even when you least expect it." Alexander's gaze met his father's, steady and unwavering. "Then we'll be ready, together." For hours, they continued, moving from one report to the next, mapping strategies for acquisitions, mergers, and expansions. Every figure, every note, every blueprint was analyzed. There was no room for error, no time for hesitation. Father and son operated as a single entity, a team honed by intellect, trust, and a shared sense of duty to the empire they would one day lead. By the time the city had become a sea of lights, the office glowed softly under the chandelier. Jonathan placed his hand briefly on Alexander's shoulder, a rare gesture of quiet approval. "Tonight, you've seen the empire at work, but this is only the beginning. There's much more to come, and it will demand everything you have." Alexander straightened, feeling the weight of responsibility and privilege alike. "I'm ready, Father, for everything." Outside, the city thrummed with life, indifferent to the empire rising above it. Inside, the Kane legacy stood, unshaken, father and son united in purpose. The shadows of the future waited beyond the office walls, but together, they would face them. And in that silent, luminous room, the story of the Heir in shadow had begun. Morning arrived precisely at 7. The Kane residence was already awake, its staff moving with quiet efficiency through marble halls and glass corridors. In the formal dining room, Breakfast was served with precision silver trays, fresh fruit untouched, coffee poured but barely sipped. This was not a place for comfort. It was a place for power. Jonathan Kane sat at the head of the table, crisp in a tailored suit, newspaper folded beside him. Across from him sat Isabella Kane, poised, elegant, and observant, her presence calm, her silence deliberate. To Jonathan's right was Alexander, already dressed for the day, eyes sharp, posture disciplined. "You're late," Jonathan said, without looking up. Marcus straightened. "Traffic." Alexander glanced up. "You don't commute." Marcus Vale, Isabella's cousin, took a seat at the far end, unemployed, unsettled, and painfully aware of both. Silence followed, brief, cutting. Isabella lifted her cup calmly. "Let's not begin the day with unnecessary tension." Jonathan finally looked at Marcus. Then perhaps unnecessary people should stop creating it. Marcus's jaw tightened. He looked to Isabella. She met his gaze evenly. "You've been given time, more than most. What you do with it is your responsibility." That was enough. Marcus stood. "Enjoy breakfast." He left first. Moments later, Isabella rose. "I have appointments," she said calmly, adjusting her coat. Her eyes lingered briefly on Jonathan. "We'll continue this conversation later." She left second. Jonathan stood next, picking up his phone. "Alexander." They didn't finish their plates. Father and son in the car. The back seat of the Kane sedan was soundproofed, tinted, sealed from the outside world. Jonathan reviewed messages while Alexander scrolled through briefing notes. "The Zurich Fund," Jonathan said, "is drawing attention." Alexander nodded. "Too much attention." Jonathan's pause answered the question. "We'll monitor it." Jonathan continued. Quietly, the car slowed. At Kane International Holdings, security stepped forward immediately, doors opening before the vehicle fully stopped. Inside the lobby, power echoed in every polished surface. They were met by Nia Clark, Jonathan Kane's executive assistant, tall, dark-skinned, impeccably dressed. Her presence commanded attention without asking for it. "Good morning, Mr. Kane," she said smoothly. "Your schedule has shifted. The regulatory board has requested a private call, and the Geneva partners moved their arrival up by 12 hours. Jonathan nodded. "Push the board call to noon." Nia turned slightly. "There's also an irregular inquiry that came in late last night. It wasn't routed through standard channels." Alexander looked up. "Irregular how?" Nia hesitated for half a second. "Off record." Jonathan's eyes sharpened. Alexander closed his tablet. "I'll handle it." Jonathan studied him briefly, then nodded. "Keep it contained." Alexander turned and walked away without another word. Inside his office, Alexander worked, efficiently, calls made, files accessed, names cross-checked. "Pull the inquiry trail," he said calmly. "Every access point. I want names, timestamps, and intent." A pause. "No," Alexander continued, pacing slowly. "Don't escalate it. Not yet. I want to see who flinches first." He switched lines without hesitation. "Yes, this is Kane. I need confirmation on the Zurich routing quietly. If it's clean, say nothing. If it's not, I want to know who touched it, and why." He ended the call and leaned over his desk, reviewing a cascade of data. This wasn't panic. It was precision. Whatever had surfaced was subtle, calculated, and meant to be noticed by someone paying attention. Alexander straightened, expression unreadable. "Interesting," he murmured. Jonathan Kane stood by the window when Alexander entered, hands clasped behind his back. The city stretched beneath him like a map of influence. "It wasn't random," Alexander said. "The inquiry was placed off-channel on purpose. Someone wanted to test response time, not provoke action." Jonathan didn't turn. "And what did they learn?" "That we're alert," Alexander replied. "But controlled." Jonathan finally faced him. "Control is the difference between power and chaos. Never forget that." He moved back to his desk slowly. "You handled it correctly. But now I want you to do something else." Alexander waited. "There's a subsidiary account miner, on paper, essential in reality. It's been quiet for too long. I want you to audit it personally. No delegation, no records left behind." Alexander's eyes sharpened. "You think it's connected?" Jonathan met his gaze. "I think nothing happens in isolation." Alexander nodded once. "I'll take care of it." Jonathan's voice dropped. "And Alexander, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust that instinct." Their eyes held. Then Alexander turned and left. Isabella Kane arrived at the gallery without announcement. The room shifted immediately. Curators straightened. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Respect was not requested, it was assumed. "Cancel my next appointment," Isabella said coolly, removing her gloves. "I'm not interested in pleasantries today." "Yes, Mrs. Kane," a curator replied quickly. She walked slowly through the space, her heels echoing softly. "This installation is wrong," she said. "It lacks intention. Art should command attention, not beg for it." A man approached cautiously. "We can revise." "No," Isabella interrupted. "You will replace it, and next time, you'll ask before wasting my time." She turned as a woman stepped forward with an envelope. "They're getting restless," the woman said quietly. Isabella took the envelope without opening it. "Let them. Restlessness creates mistakes, and if they move," Isabella smiled thinly, "then they remind the world why my name matters." Marcus sat in the guest lounge, legs stretched out, phone face down on the table. The room was immaculate, untouched. Nothing in it belonged to him. The door opened quietly. "Sir, would you like breakfast cleared?" asked Mrs. Calder, the head of housekeeping. Her tone was respectful, but firm. She ran the household like clockwork. Marcus looked at her, then around the room. "Wasn't mine to begin with." She hesitated. "Mrs. Kane asked that you be comfortable." Marcus smirked faintly. "Comfortable isn't the word I'd use. I feel more like a ghost wandering through my own home." Mrs. Calder adjusted the tray. "Some say presence is earned. Perhaps you will find a way." Marcus leaned back, crossing his arms. "Presence earned. Funny, I grew up here. Same walls, same halls, same rules. Only difference now is that I don't belong. And that stings." She regarded him evenly. "Then perhaps the solution is to adapt, or to wait until the world acknowledges you. Either way, sir, this house moves with purpose. You'll learn that soon enough." Marcus let the words sink in. "Purpose, yes, I can see that." He exhaled slowly, the weight of being an outsider pressing down. As Mrs. Calder quietly left the room, Marcus's phone buzzed on the table. Unknown contact, still unemployed. "I might have something for you." Marcus glanced at the screen but did not move. Instead, he leaned back in the chair, letting the tension build. The message remained unanswered. Silence filled the room, heavy, reflective. For now, it was just another observation, a spark waiting for the right moment.